Hi Gophers, my name is Alex Pluto and welcome to Package Main, the channel about Go. Most of us use Go to build web backends, APIs, command line tools, but what's interesting is that Go can be used in places where we are not expecting to see it. In this video, we will build a desktop application with Go and vue.js using Wails framework. This framework is new and still in beta, but I was surprised how easy it was to develop, build and package apps with it. Wails provides the ability to wrap your Go code and vue.js code into a single binary. The Wails CLI will help you with project creation, compilation and bundling. I will build a very simple app to display CPU usage of the current machine in real time, and if you have time and like Wails, you can come up with something more creative and complex. Wails CLI can be installed simply by using go-get. After this, we have to set it up using Wails setup command. Just give it your name and email. Alright, we have Wails configured. Now what we have to do is to initialize our new project. Give it a name, CPU stats, and binary name, directory name. Our project consists of Go Backend and vue.js Frontend. So we have main.go file as the entry point, and I will describe later what's happening here. We have Go modules, which is empty, and we have Frontend folder containing Webpack configuration, vue.js, and some Hello World component. There are two main components to share data between backend and frontend. One of them is binding. In main.go, the method bind will simply send the variable. It can be struct, it can be function, to frontend. So here, as you can see, we are sending function basic into the frontend. And now let's see how it's used there. It's using Hello World component by simply calling window backend global variable and then the function name. So here we can bind anything and we can bind multiple functions. Also, Wails provides the unified event system, which is similar to native JavaScript event system. So we can send the data from backend to frontend and in the opposite way. And it's very neat because you can run some background jobs in your backend and just emit events to the frontend. Now let's develop our backend part first. What I will do is I will create the new package and I will calculate the CPU usage, or I'll just use some third-party package and I will bind it in the main.go file. So let's create the package called sys and simple sys.go file. Let's define the type called stats, for example. Let it be empty. And then in this type, let's create a function get CPU usage, which will return us CPU usage, which I will define here. We can return CPU usage per core we have, or we can just return the average. So I'll just go with simple, and let it be int. I will use the package from gops util CPU to basically just give us the answer. So CPU dot percent and interval, let's give it for the last second, per CPU false. So it will give us the slice of percents and error. Let's check the error first. I'm not sure yet what I will do with this error. So handle error, let's just return nil. And if everything is good, let's return the CPU usage and average. Let's just because % will be in float. So let's return the let's round this and the first value. It didn't like something. All right, go. So now I can create the instance of the type stats in main.go file and bind it to the frontend. So we don't need this basic function anymore. We'll create stats. Let's package C stats, and we will send it to the frontend. One more interesting thing about binding structs in Wails is that you can create the function Wails init under your type, and it will be triggered during the startup of the application. So under our stats, we can create this function Wails init, which will return an error, and it will receive runtime Wails runtime. I think it's a pointer, and here we can do some initialization. For example, we can take the runtime.log.new and create our new logger, and let's save it here. So log, it will be Wails custom logger. So we initialize the logger, and then now we can, all right, we have to return something here, and yeah, now we can log our error here, for example. So let's do as log.error, that's F, unable to get CPU stats, and an error message. So we create the type stats with Wails init function and get CPU usage. And we also sending it to the frontend using app.bind. Now let's see how can we use this stats object in the frontend. So if we go to hello world component, and first let's actually rename it to CPU usage. CPU usage. And also we should rename it here. So it's not hello world anymore, it's CPU usage. All right, and then, so what's happening here? We have a button, press me, it will call this function get message. This function actually will call the function basic from the backend, and it will return us a promise, and they will just update the message. We don't have basic anymore. We have stats, and we have function get CPU usage, which will also return a promise. And let's just update our message. So let's don't change a lot here. CPU usage dot average. Yeah, let's keep these styles. Now let's try to build the project and see if it works. To build the whole project into one single binary, we can use Wails build, and we can provide the flag -d to build us a debuggable version. Right, we should come here first, and it will take a while because it will do npm install and then downloading Go packages, etc. So let's wait. All right, now we have a single binary with the same name as our project name. So in our case, it's CPU stats, and yeah, we can just execute it. Yeah, there's a default logo, there is nice button, and then yeah, so here's our average CPU usage whenever we click the button. So we were sending CPU usage to the front end using the bind method. Now let's try a different approach. Let's create a timer on the backend, which will be sending events to the front end. And we can create this timer in Wails init function. So let's create a go routine here with endless loop. And here let's take runtime.events.emit. So emit function requires two parameters, the event name, let's do it CPU usage, and any data. In our case, we will just call our function get CPU usage, and since it's a timer, let's sleep for a second. Now, on the front-end side, we can subscribe to this event when our component is mounted. So in vue.js, we can create a mounted property. Let's remove this button, we don't need it anymore. Let's keep styles for now, but we will use global object Wails events on, and the name of our event is CPU usage, and arrow function as well. Let's do the same. This message is CPU usage average, and we can remove our methods, we don't need them anymore. Great, so let's test this change. Great, as you can see, events are sent in and the value is automatically updated on the vue.js component. It would be nice to display the CPU usage in some sort of graph or bar, and we can use third-party libraries for this, and in Frontend you can just use npm install. So let's do npm install, and I will use the package called Apex charts, and also I need to install the Vue version for this. Great, now let's initialize it and import in main.js file. So view Apex charts from view Apex charts. Also, let's use it, view Apex charts, and also let's define the component for this. So Apex chart, view Apex charts. All right, now let's switch to our component, and instead of this HTML, use Apex chart. And so the type will be radial bar, and also let's set options and series. I should be called here. And these options and series we will define in our data, and they will be auto-updated when event is coming. So series is an array of values, so let's do 0 by default, and options is just some configuration. In our case, we just need a label, let's do CPU usage. And also we can remove this CSS because we don't need h1 and link anymore. And instead of updating the message here, first of all, let's just check if this is not empty, because as you remember, we can send a nil there. Let's update the series, and since it's an array and we just need only one value, so let's do like this. All right, let's go back to our main folder and try to build it again. And let's launch our application. Alright, so we have something, but yeah, we also need to remove the logo and maybe change some size. So if we go to app.vue, let's remove this logo. As you can see, to change CSS, we just go to main CSS and let's remove this margin top. And also I wanted to change the size a little bit, and we can actually do it in Go. Let's do it square 512. Let's change the title, for example. And yeah, I think we are good to build it and run. Here we go, our desktop application built with Go and vue.js. Let's run the Docker to see if CPU usage increases or not. Oh yeah, it does. I really enjoyed working with Wails, and events concept makes it easy to control the state of your application. Check it out at wails.app or on the GitHub page wailsapp/wails, and I hope you will enjoy it.